Hello everyone, now you will hear a brief summary of the movie Cruel Intentions. Enjoy watching. A rich guy, Sebastian, at an appointment with a psychologist, unexpectedly started hitting on her. His problem is that he is constantly trying to drag girls into bed. So he hugged Dr. Greenbaum too long and tightly. He also wouldn't mind hooking up with her pretty daughter, Marcy. She just called to complain about her ex-boyfriend, who posted her naked photos on the internet. And that was our hero, Sebastian. The woman is furious, and Sebastian immediately snared another girl. Bunny Caldwell instructs Kathryn, a successful, wealthy student, to take guardianship over her daughter, Cecile. According to Kathryn, to manage to cope with everything, she often turns to God, and while doing so, she pulls a large cross out from her bosom. The dandelion girl was always homeschooled, and in the new school, she is most interested in boys. Pity that Kathryn's stepbrother also studies at Manchester School, the scoundrel Sebastian, who just entered the room and cracked a vulgar joke towards Cecile. The mother and daughter left, and Kathryn snorted some cocaine, which she keeps in that very cross. These two, representatives of the golden youth, entertain themselves by seducing everyone in sight. Kathryn gives a task to her brother. She was dating a certain court, did all kinds of things to him, and he went and fell in love with another, precisely with the empty-headed Cecile Caldwell. Therefore, it is necessary to make it so that by the end of the semester she has the reputation of the main slut in school. But Sebastian refuses, it sounds too simple. But a girl named Annette, who wrote an article in a magazine about wanting to save her virginity until marriage, arouses much more interest in him. A literal model of chastity. She just happens to be living in the house of Sebastian's aunt for some time. Her father was appointed principal of their school. This is top-tier skill, to best the new principal even before classes start. You have no chance, she is not on your level. All his victories shadow Sebastian records in a special diary. Kathryn offers her brother to make a bet. If he cannot seduce Annette, then he gives his sister his vintage Jaguar. And if he can, then he will get what he has wanted for so long. Annette gets acquainted with the estate where she will live. Sebastian is already here, waiting for his victim. He immediately began to criticize her manifesto of abstaining from sex. Maybe she is just a lesbian? But surely it is not for him, a rake, to judge her. Annette has heard about the heartbreaker's reputation. She was warned in a letter by a certain friend, who described the seduction tactics that Sebastian uses. Cecile practices playing the cello with her teacher, Ronald. Ronald sits down behind her and shows how to handle the long bow. The girl immediately melted. The sensual lesson was interrupted by Kathryn. Sebastian complains to his gay friend Brian about the bastard who set him up. It was definitely the football player, Greg. He is from the same town as Annette, and, possibly, has a crush on her. But Brian knows for sure that Greg is not into girls. They have hooked up more than once. The athlete had Brian after every night. To find out what's going on, Sebastian asks his buddy to meet with him today. He has some plans for Greg. Greg was just telling his athlete buddies how he was banging some beauty, but then Brian called him. Kathryn questions Cecile about her relationship with Court. He kept talking about the stupid cow he dumped on the 4th of July, what a fool she must be. The girl admits that she is somewhat afraid of guys. She has never even kissed them. Kathryn offers to teach her protege right here and now. A little peck seems like no big deal. Now Kathryn shoves her tongue into her mouth, she will massage it with hers. The girls closed their eyes and, exchanging spit, got their tongues working. Cecile liked this business very much. The friend suggests she continue practicing now with her teacher Ronald. Especially since, as it turned out, he writes Cecile love letters. She likes the guy too, but her mother will kill her if she finds out about these letters. She hides them in a dollhouse. To attract Annette's attention, Sebastian blasted the music at full volume. He gifted a personalized backpack in honor of the start of the school year, and afterwards suggested swimming together in the pool. Why not? Sounds pretty harmless. Before returning to Sebastian, Annette put on perfume. On the spot, she caught him naked as if by accident. Having advertised his assets, the guy got into the pool. Annette remembers how cunning Sebastian was caught in the letter. But who sent it, she won't confess. Instead, she reminds him that she has a boyfriend who is currently traveling through Europe. The seducer goes on the attack, but the girl only ridicules his tricks and leaves. Midnight came, time to gather blackmail material on Greg. Bursting into the room, Sebastian photographed him in bed with Brian. Greg immediately agrees to do whatever it takes, just to keep his true orientation a secret. He is instructed to tell his female friend about what a great guy Sebastian is, and also try to find out the name of the letter's author. And the girl confesses it was Mrs. Caldwell, Cecile's mother. Cecile herself shows Ronald what she can do. This is Kathryn set up a hidden camera to gather blackmail material on the silly girl. But so far, the lovebirds haven't even reached a kiss. The angry Sebastian is now ready to help his treacherous sister ruin the girl's life. Having almost driven her brother to orgasm, Kathryn fled. Sebastian called Annette to invite her for a walk. Kathryn, on the other hand, ratted Cecile out to her mother, told her about the affair with the teacher. Clear, she is so young, and he is so black, this could ruin her reputation at Manchester school. And if Bunny doubts it, she can look inside the dollhouse. Bunny made a scene and kicked Ronald out, forbidding him to see her daughter, unable to restrain herself from racist remarks while doing so. The brother and sister continue the insidious game and tell the musician that Cecile is also not indifferent to him. He must write one more letter, and the pair will deliver it. This time, even Sebastian clarifies if Kathryn really wants to destroy the life of an innocent girl. They hadn't gone this far yet. But her desire to take revenge is too great. They call the tearful Cecile and offer her to come to them and pick up the letter that Ronald wrote to her. Cecile arrived, and Sebastian immediately got her drunk. He photographs her and suggests showing her sexuality. A couple of photos in a bra are taken, but she absolutely does not agree to anything more. Sebastian threatens to call Cecile's mother, and yet she was under house arrest. And so that he wouldn't do it, she agreed to give him one kiss. Except it turned out to be not on the lips, but significantly lower. A disheveled Cecile returned home towards morning. During breakfast, Sebastian taunts her and reminds her of what happened between them last night. The spoiled rich boy, at his aunt's request, has to agree to go help out at a nursing home. Annette went along with him too. There he is rude to an old lady, taking advantage of the fact that she has hearing problems. But in front of Annette, he plays the cutie. However, this time too, she figured him out. To remove the haughty mask from Sebastian, she fools around and makes him laugh, and afterwards takes his hand. Cecile wants to confess terrible things to her friend Kathryn. Her brother took advantage of her. But how did he take advantage? He wrote the alphabet between her legs. At first it was disgusting, but then pleasant, and at the end, an explosion happened. Cecile, that was an orgasm. Kathryn suggests she not stop and allow Sebastian to continue teaching her, so that she can please Ronald later. And generally, one needs to sleep with many partners, everyone does so, they just hide it. Cecile now actively practices and doesn't even want to give Sebastian a breather. But all the thoughts of the spoiled rich boy are focused on Annette. It seems Sebastian is falling in love with her. On the lawn, he approached and kissed the girl, but went overboard with the force. He manages to find out that the girl is not indifferent to him, and this, according to her words, is unlike her. In the evening, Sebastian made a scene, accusing Annette of being hot and cold. And if she rejects him, then he will leave. But the girl asks him to stay and locks the door. They kiss, and Annette was already ready to give herself to Sebastian, but he said that he cannot do it this way, and walked out of the room. In the morning, the sister came to find out about his success, and she was surprised by Sebastian's action. Kathryn reports that Annette is leaving the estate and will now live with her friends. From Greg, Sebastian found out where his crush was heading, and managed to intercept her at the station. The girl appreciated the gesture and kissed Sebastian. Afterwards they made love. All of this very much displeased Kathryn. She invited Sebastian and demonstratively groaned before he entered the room. Turns out, she managed to seduce our musician Ronald, and he fled infamously. Kathryn is ready to give Sebastian the promised reward, meaning herself, but the blonde guy rejects her. Kathryn went all in, but his stepsister is no longer interesting to him. Then she reminds him that Annette is the principal's daughter, and he definitely doesn't need a son-in-law with such a reputation. Taylor Kathryn is also sure that people don't change overnight, and Sebastian is still the same bastard as she is. The rich boy intends to confess everything to his beloved and came to her house. But on the spot, he lies to Annette that he doesn't love her, but simply wanted to know what she is like in bed. The guy cries and continues to say nasty things to her. The disappointed girl screams and drives the scoundrel away. Now he came to Kathryn to tell her that he broke up with Annette. Now he is ready to take what is due to him, but the sis is waiting for Ronald. Then Sebastian pulls out a letter from the musician addressed to Cecile. He arranged a rendezvous for the pair, and Ronald stayed with Cecile, so there's no point waiting for him. Kathryn mocks Sebastian. She made him give up his first real love, he is just a toy in her hands. And what's more, she won't give it to him because she doesn't sleep with losers. Sebastian realized that he screwed up, and now tries to call Annette, and afterwards comes to her. But they won't let him in. Then he asks to pass a letter to the girl. In it, he repents that he derived pleasure from mocking others, now he has hurt the one he fell in love with too. He also handed her the diary with the collection of his love victories. He dedicated a separate page to his stepsister, and Annette's page is headlined with the word bet. At night, Kathryn calls Ronald and lies that Sebastian hit her. The girl asks him to come and support her. The musician left Cecile in bed to finish sleeping alone. Kathryn also told him about the games of his girl and her brother. At the exact same time, Annette went out in search of Sebastian. Ronald reached the rich boy, and a fight broke out between them. Annette wants to separate them, but falls onto the roadway. At the last moment, Sebastian saves the girl, but he himself gets hit by a car. He squeezes Annette's hand and confesses his love. He was not destined to survive the car accident. In the church restroom, Kathryn deeply snorted another dose of the drug. Annette stepped out of the stall. She suggests the bitch turn to God so it would be easier to cope with the loss. Kathryn delivers a memorial speech. For some reason, students one after another stand up from their seats and go outside, looking back at the girl while doing so. Outside, Cecile is distributing some notebooks to everyone. This is Sebastian's copied diary, where all the sins of his stepsister are written down in detail. The school principal takes the cross from her hand and pours white powder out of it. The reputation Kathryn cherished so much is trampled, and Annette will now be driving around in Sebastian's vintage Jaguar. And that's where the movie ends. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the Movie RXP channel. You can also find many more short movie recaps on our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.